Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. I guess we're back on our pre-show BS.
Yeah.
We kind of took a hiatus.
We didn't really want to make people like our guests suffer through a pre-show because our show is enough nonsense that it might as well be.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. Like they're already,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it would be different if our interviews that we were doing was like strictly football,
Yes.
sit down, we're going to talk team. Like this was a slight portion of that with some of the guests, but then a lot of it was kind of like getting to know them. So you don't need to get to know them for an extra 5 minutes when the whole 30 to 40 minute interview is getting to know them. That's a lot of them,
How's your weekend? What did you do this weekend?
It was good. Well, I'll tell you one thing that you'll be interested that I did. I went to the Londoner for the first time to watch a football game.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Was it an Arsenal game?
It was an Arsenal game. we were there at like 9 o'clock in the morning to watch.
I mean, hey, you're lucky because that's the middle slot.
Yeah.
There are 6:45
5
kickoffs.
games. Yeah. So that was a fun experience, and
it's a good time.
It is, and that I studied abroad in London, so it was kind of cool to be back immersed in it. And I think the thing that made it seem like the most like we were more kind of there was the fact that it was 9 a.m. and people are drinking like dark beers, like that kind of, they give you the full experience, which was cool. The chants are cool too.
Yes.
That's
an Arsenal bar?
Yes.
The London is?
Yeah, Arsenal
they're
and
not cute.
Some blue team. I don't remember.
Chelsea?
Maybe Liverpool.
That's a red team.
Oh. I don't know because there's the other thing. There's another issue that I have with soccer is the fact like Arsenal's colors are ostensibly red, but then like they have away kits that are blue and yellow, and I'm like,
the away
they
kits
need to at least be like some sort of similar color.
There are no QPR bars because nobody likes QPR. It's a tough scene. All right. So Pickle, you had a fun weekend.
I did.
Let me tell you about my week.
Oh gosh.
Specifically Saturday. So Saturday, in the town in which we live,
yes,
they had their annual Easter egg scramble. Okay? Annual Easter egg scramble. Big event.
Yeah.
Big community event, stuff like that.
I did see a certain member of the Tepper household look very cute in bunny ears.
Yes.
And it was not Eugen or Max.
No, it was not. And so we go up there and, they got a DJ out there, and they've got bounce houses.
Oh yeah, we're going all out.
It's a whole community deal.
Yeah,
right. There's a little food truck that's it's a whole community deal. And the good thing is it's walkable from our house.
Oh, very nice.
Walked up there, loaded Hank up into the wagon, and I pulled the wagon.
Okay.
It's not that walkable, but it is walkable.
Walkable, yeah.
I got my steps in on the wagon, and then put Max in the stroller, and all.
And you don't have to deal with parking, which is always a good thing.
Right. Go up there to the park, and the main event of the evening, of the day, is the egg scramble.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the grand poobah.
Now I want to give my town credit. They've done an excellent job of figuring out the pitfalls and trying their best to eliminate them.
Okay.
So, for example, they're on baseball fields.
Okay.
And they are broken up by age group.
Oh, I like it.
So Hank is in the 3 and 4 year
right,
old.
because if not, you have 8-year-olds out there stiff-arming people.
Exactly right.
Okay,
exactly
I like
right.
that.
Right.
Good job.
Yeah. So
City.
Good job. And by the way, like the other thing was, by the way, like if you ever needed proof that Hank is still pretty small, like small by in that he's 3, like he got in the bounce house and he just got freaking flattened by some like 8-year-old. Just like, and he was like, I want to get out. I'm like, all right, buddy. Hold on.
No, you were like, go in there.
Right. Get in there. Come on, man.
Get in the ring.
So it's actually really smart how they do it, where it's on a baseball field.
Okay.
And so you can either be behind the white lines on the outfield, or you can be in the dirt.
Okay.
In the infield dirt. So all the eggs are scattered in the outfield. Ashley.
I know it's serious when you use my real name.
If you ever needed to know how thin the line is between society and chaos,
it's an Easter egg.
One of these things. Okay? So the mayor of the town.
Big doings.
Okay. So the mayor of the town.
Got to show
face.
face.
On the microphone.
Kissing
He's
babies.
Saying, thanks so much for coming up. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to get going in about 5 minutes. What's going to happen? We got the big fire truck over here. Fire truck. big tip with the kids.
Yep.
We got the big fire truck over here. When they blow their horn, then it's going to be ready to go. Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. One field,
Uh-huh.
the 7 and 8-year-old field,
The turds, I'm telling you.
like 5 kids heard go,
Oh, no.
and they took off. And at that point,
Then chaos
everyone
ensues.
on that 7 and 8-year-old field just like descended and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it was like they lost containment. They lost
And that's
containment.
the wrong age group.
No, once like 5 of them went, it was over. It was
Murder!
over. Luckily, probably because the parents were very close.
Yeah.
On the 3 and 4-year-old field, we were hanging out.
Yeah,
We're
just
doing
chilling.
good, okay, having a good time.
They're still timid at that point almost. Most of them.
Hank's got his basket.
Okay.
I'm out there with Hank.
How big is the basket? Like, are we going volume shooter?
Massive.
Okay, good.
Massive basket. Okay.
I was going to judge you as a parent if not.
Too big. Too big. We're standing along the white line. And Hank's talking a big game.
Okay, he's puffing his chest out.
Hank is like, I'm going to get 100 eggs. I'm going to get 100. I mean, that's been the number that first of all, he's just learned the number 100.
Okay.
And he thinks that's the biggest number
Hell
that
yeah,
exists.
brother. Shoot for the sky.
That's the biggest number that exists. So that is
the number of eggs.
for I'm going to get a ton of eggs.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 2 people to blame here, and I want to be clear about this. There's 2 people to blame.
Okay, you better be one of them. I just
One is Hank. Because Hank does not have killer instinct. Because
he's soft.
Because he would be walking along and there'd be an egg there, and he'd go to start reaching for it, and another kid would go to start reaching for it, and he would go, oh, okay.
I hope you realize you have a golfer on your hand and you don't even realize it.
He's very deferential. Very deferential. Which is fine, because that feels like that's a lot more fixable than like...
No, I want my kid out there stiff-arming someone.
Being a jerk?
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair. So that's one thing. The other problem is on me. It's a coaching problem, okay? It's on me. It's a coaching problem. Because what I should have told him is, Hank, when that siren goes, you need to run to center field.
I want blood.
You need to run to center field and work your way back.
Ah, yes.
Because what happened...
Everyone stops at the first shiny
everybody,
object.
it's one line, and if you're not at the very front of that line, you're
ain't
picking
getting
up
an egg.
scraps.
Yeah.
Right? That's how Hank got 1 egg.
Oh no.
One
that's
egg.
Traumatizing.
Now, here's the good news.
Was it the golden egg?
It was not.
Oh,
it was
no,
an egg with, like,
buddy.
gum in it. The good thing was Hank was not paying a ton of attention to other. He thought it was really fun.
Okay.
He wasn't paying a ton of attention. This is not very results based for him. I think.
Okay.
I think he
It
got
was
where that
participation
like, this is fun. I got to run
trophy.
out there and stuff like that. But yeah, he got an egg.
Okay, we need to rough this kid up.
One. He
That
got
sounds-
one egg. It's a tough scene.
That sounds like my brother back in the day.
So one more story before, and I know this is where we're going on.
No, this is worth it.
Because then it's like, okay, we go get a picture with the Easter Bunny. We go in the bounce house. We get clobbered. We go down one of the little bouncy slides. All fun stuff.
Okay.
And then they're starting something I've never seen before, because they are about to start the adult egg scramble.
Did you do it?
So they have an adult egg scramble. It's set up same way. Okay? Set up the same way, except it's for adults. And the hook is that there are apparently a couple of eggs that have like gift cards to local restaurants in it. So it's like
it gives back to the community.
I don't need Sour Patch Kids.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
But you know, $5 to local burger joint.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe. I didn't do it, and here's why.
Oh no! So you're gonna tell me you let your kid only get 1 egg and you didn't go back him up for more?
Here's why.
Parenting.
Here's why. The reason I didn't do it, A, because we were too late to get there. But more importantly, the reason I wouldn't have done it is because if I tear my ACL in an adult egg scramble, that is
then you go down as dad of the year.
No, you're wrong.
That's
That's the end of my public life. That's the end, the terminus of my public life. Right then, if I you know.
Okay, look, you
if
wonder...
I come in crutches on Monday and you
see,
say, what happened, what am I supposed to say?
Come up with some story. I almost broke my elbow on the ice. It happens. Like...
Yeah, but you know I'm not good at lying.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, oh, God. You wonder why Hank didn't go to the back and come back or get a lot of eggs. It's because Dad's a softie.
No,
you're not showing him what it's like to be a competitor.
Time out. Those are 2 different problems. There's 2 different problems. One of the problems is that he's too deferential. The other problem was a coaching problem, and it was a strategy problem. We had a bad game plan, and that's on me. Hey,
That's on you.
That's on me.
Yeah.
100%. I'm holding up my hand.
Okay,
I'm
well,
going to the
what
locker
I'm
room,
saying,
and I'm saying that's mine.
what
That's
I'm
my
saying
bad.
is you could have made up for your coaching mistake by going out there and pushing some dad to the ground.
I am not.
LP would have tackled somebody. I know that.
I
I
know
guess
he would have.
that's why I am the way that I am, which
Right.
is good and bad.
I know he would have, but that I can't.
Oh, you're soft,
Can't do
Gregory.
that. I
You're
can't do that.
soft.
Can't do that.
No competitor
Anyway.
spirit here.
Happy Easter. Anthony Expo. Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas. It is Texas Football Today, a show that's back just by our lonesome.
Yeah.
My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football A Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on TikTok.
We do have a TikTok if you want to follow it.
Can we go live on Instagram?
We've talked about that. I don't know.
Or you'll listen to the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. If you're if you're watching us on MySpace.
Now that would be a flex.
Or either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She is Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, friends.
How was your night last night? I didn't follow up. Look, both of us lost.
Yeah.
Was the person you were watching the game with? He was
civil. I was watching.
The Spurs played the Mavs.
Yeah, and I was watching it with my boyfriend Brian, who is a Mavs fan.
Correct.
Regrettably, he was fine.
He was.
It went so late. We both had long weekends. We were pretty tired at that point. So I think that the crap talking was dialed down to kind of a minimum at that point.
The other thing is that like Luka got hurt.
Yeah.
So it's like, like they won, but at what cost?
It's exactly.
You know? No.
So
I didn't want to follow up.
Here's the big thing.
I'm very much. I'm gonna talk my mess before the game, and then like afterwards, if it goes my way, I'm gonna be like, that was fun. I hope we all. Have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know I mean?
The one thing I will say real fast on the topic of NBA that I didn't realize until it got pointed out to me yesterday was the Spurs have a play-in game on Wednesday. That's Spurs versus Pelicans. Now that causes big house drama for our social media guy, William Wilkerson, and his lovely bride, Erin Hardigan.
Mm-hmm.
Further than that, if the Spurs do win, his house goes down. But if the Spurs do win, they're the 8th seed in the West. Do you know who they would be playing in the first series?
Oh, they would get launched into the Suns.
And that doesn't bode well for our office dynamic.
No, let me be very clear. That doesn't bode well for you and your favorite basketball team because they're a murder machine.
Yes, and Ish is very ready to see that happen.
Oh, I know, yes. Today's Monday, April 11th, 2022, 227 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to former Ranger great Mark Teixeira. Episode on this, the Rangers home opener. Episode 1366. On today's show, Friends. We've got headlines, lots of headlines. So many headlines that I told Pickle not to make lower thirds for them.
We're just going to have one.
We're just going to have one. And so we will run through a bunch of headlines, including major college shakeups and a giant bit of high school breaking news this morning. Yeah. We'll get into that. In the back half of the show, Pickle and Mallory went on an adventure.
And we are competitors, unlike
competitors.
some people.
Let's hope everybody have fun.
Soft.
And so you guys were out in checking out Fort Worth ISD's new girls flag football program.
Yeah.
And
we ran some routes.
I
did a lot more running with my face than I did with my legs.
Break down the tape coming through the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the doors?
We sure do. It was just Chad, Tony Blaylock, Aaron Arbuckle, and Coach Terry Crawford. Welcome in, fellas.
Howdy, friends. Thanks for coming in. Okie dokie, Pickle. Let's get to some headlines from across the state.
A plethora.
A lot of them. We're going to start in college and go to high school. We're going to start with the news that came down last week, and that was that what came out of Houston, that Houston is going to be down one of their star players for at least a large chunk of the season. That is Alton McCaskill.
Not one you want to have down.
The star running back, he sent this out last week saying that he had torn his ACL. From everything that we heard, it was the dreaded non-contact injury.
Mm-hmm.
That's
you want to talk about like a gut punch more than ever, it's that.
If a guy goes down in a heap and he doesn't get touched, you know it's bad.
Yep.
He was a freshman All-American last year. He set the freshman school record for freshmen with 18 touchdowns. So, let's talk timetable. So this happened April 2nd, okay? April 2nd is when he sent out that this had happened. Typically, and look, this is ACL. We certainly hope that he comes back, and surgery is, the medical procedure has certainly improved over the course of the years. But there's a possibility he never comes back. But realistically, let's talk about a time frame. A time frame would be, I think, a reasonable time frame for an ACL is about 8 months. About 8 months. Here's the problem. That would put him in for December 1.
Yeah.
If he were to go and he were to have successful surgery, which it sounds like he did, successful surgery, and then have the 8-month recovery time, that would put him right at the beginning of December. So maybe he could be back for an AAC championship game, or maybe he could be back for a bowl game. But that also feels like most things would have to go right. He wouldn't have any setbacks.
Right.
And then at that point, it's also the kind of thing of let's say if they are not in the AAC championship game, they're just going to a bowl.
Yeah, then
I gotta
there's
be
no
honest.
point. Can he still get? Does he have a medical red shirt left that he can get?
Yes, I believe he could.
Then
So
yeah,
he
don't
could
waste
have
that.
and stuff like that. For now, I'll tell you the way I'm thinking of it, and the way that we're kind of going to treat it in the magazine. I'm going to assume he's out for the whole year.
Yeah. I would agree.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
And I feel like they should do that so they can prep in the off season and take advantage of thinking that.
Speaking of running backs at Houston, they added a running back. There's no way that they knew he was going to tear his ACL, and then they had this guy they'd been on the horn with Brandon Campbell for a while, but Brandon Campbell,
just a decent timing thing.
USC running back who's out of the Houston area, actually played at 3 high schools while he was in high school. He is coming back home to play at Houston. He only got a few touches there at USC. Probably looked around at the new, everything going on there with Lincoln Riley. Said, all right, I'm going to bounce, come back home. And so he is going to be there. So now I would say Brandon Campbell's a very good running back. I think they would probably prefer to have Alton McCaskill. That's just me. But anyway, they have added a running back in Brandon Campbell there. Speaking of bad news with running backs and knees.
This is not a cool trend.
No, Kadrick Cobbs. Kadrick Cobbs has announced, the UTSA running back announced that he has torn his ACL as well.
Which is a bigger deal considering Sincere McCormick is not there.
Correct. He was going to be in the competition for the starting running back job. Now, I think it was always going to be a committee.
Yeah.
But he was certainly going to get a lot of heavy touches. The Denton Geyer product is now going to most likely, like we just said about Alton McCaskill, likely going to be out for the entire season. That's going to hurt the depth there at UTSA for the running back. We have in-state transfer pickle. Jake Bailey, the wide receiver from Rice, has announced that he is transferring to SMU. Jake Bailey was the leading receiver pretty much in every category for Rice last year and was, in my opinion, their most reliable offensive weapon.
Absolutely.
Last year.
I wonder how that happened. A pipeline from Rice to SMU. Interesting.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Interesting.
That feels like you're accusing somebody of tampering. I would never accuse anybody of tampering. But he will, and remember, there's an SMU receiver core that certainly... Stop pointing at that. That's a joke for two. There's an SMU receiver core that certainly needs a boost, right? Reggie Roberson and Danny Gray are off to the NFL draft. Stop laughing. And so they've got Jake Bailey coming in. Jake Bailey obviously did big things at Rice. He'll be expected to do big things at SMU. Are you okay?
No, that's so funny. I can't wait to show. I don't have a camera pointed.
You want to turn the camera?
Yeah.
It's going to change as soon as you change the camera.
I know. I look over, and that's what we're looking at. Why is that like that? Sorry. Whew. I wasn't expecting it.
I don't think anybody was expecting it. Anyway, on to the other news. Speaking of the transfer portal, Baylor has added a linebacker coming back to the state of Texas, Josh White. Josh White was a starter linebacker from Cypress. He went to, I want to say, Side Creek?
You don't ever want to mess that up because the lovely folks in Cyprus will absolutely ring you for it.
Is it Side Creek? Everybody says Side Creek. Let's go!
Ding, 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 ding. We got a winner.
Side Creek. He went to LSU out of high school. He only saw a little bit of time. He's now coming back to Texas to play at Baylor. Big pickup there as they add in another talented young linebacker there in Josh White. Conference USA.
Kusa.
This is a little bit old, but it's worth mentioning because it's kind of big. So you guys remember there was the whole thing, and I threw this out there, about Marshall, Old Dominion, and Southern Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall, Old Dominion, and Southern Miss said, we want to leave Conference USA early. Conference USA was like, well, no, you don't. They've come to a settlement, and they are leaving. They've now put out new schedules because there's 3 fewer teams. You got to remove them from the teams. So we've got those up on TexasFootball.com if you want to go see the updated Conference USA schedules for 2022.
How do you feel about UNT UTEP in week 0 in
I
El
know.
Paso? Wild.
We're going to go?
Yeah, it's the first week of the football season. That's what I was saying. Like, I went last year. I should go again. I should make that my first week thing.
Them, find an El Paso game in week 1 and tell Bally you're going to do it and have fun.
Yep.
Stick with me. Okay, other news. Hey, remember when Lamar left the Southland?
I do.
So they left the Southland to go to the WAC. They left the Southland to go to the WAC. They are, after 1 year there, they're coming back.
Snip, snap, snip, snap.
2023, Lamar's going to come back to the Southland. Now, I think this is a pretty big deal for the Southland because they were kind of hemorrhaging members.
Especially with the loss of TMUC.
Yeah.
Commerce.
Yeah.
Commerce.
It's a Lone Star Conference. So
God.
yes, I know. It's all I know, it's a whole thing. But they were hemorrhaging members and they were kind of scrambling to hold things together because you remember like Sam Houston's leaving to move up and then other teams like Stephen F were leaving for the WAC and things like that. This is not to say that Lamar is some juggernaut, but I think just to stem the tide against the Southland, it's really important for them to bring Lamar back. So Lamar is rejoining the Southland in 2023. Texas A&M held their spring game. I think they called the maroon and white game.
Seems right.
I only watched snippets and highlights of it, but highlights are going to be deceiving. Everything that I read from people was that the quarterback situation felt a little unsettled.
Okay.
That it was a little bit. They ran 3 quarterbacks out there.
Because who all was
it? Haynes King, Connor Wigman, and then the transfer Max Johnson.
Yep.
It sounds like Max Johnson looked the best of the 3.
Where did he come from again?
LSU.
Okay.
Haynes King coming off of his ACL surgery or his knee surgery was back out there. Everything that I read from the people that I trust said that Max Johnson looked the best, but that overall it just kind of looked like the quarterback situation. So keep an eye on that. But here's the headline, the only headline that matters. There were no injuries. So everyone wins there. A&M defeated A&M by the score of something to something. Sad news out of, I believe, in Fritch, Texas. Okay. And that is that John LeGrone has passed away. John LeGrone, you may remember, was a star at SMU, an All-American, and probably most known around these parts as the cover boy of the 1966 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. He was on there with Greg Pipes and Dyron Talbert. They were. It was like the only time we've ever put linemen on the cover.
Yeah.
Was back in 1966. But he is the main guy in the middle, and John LeGrone. He has passed away at the age of 77. So Dave Campbell's Texas Football cover boy, John LeGrone, passing away at the age of 77. The SMU star. Bob Bowlesby stepping down as a Big 12 commissioner. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this, Kev? He's stepping down after a long and I would say tumultuous tenure at the Big 12. He oversaw A&M leaving. He oversaw Missouri leaving. He oversaw Colorado. He oversaw them adding in TCU and West Virginia, and then I don't know. Bob Bowlesby's legacy is going to be really interesting. It's because on one hand, he held the conference together when there was every reason for it to die. But on the other hand, he always struck me as very reactive. The Big 12 always struck me as very reactive.
They never, ever had a plan going anything.
Didn't seem like it. And so Bob Bowlesby is stepping down, I believe, at the end of the year. So they are on the search. Big 12 looking for a new commissioner.
That's got to be a hard job to be looking for at this point.
Big news out of the FCS ranks. Do you see this? Sam Houston quarterback Eric Schmidt, a national champion quarterback, will forego his final year of eligibility. He's going to go play at the professional level. He's going to enter the NFL draft. He's going to try to get there. He may end up, who knows? Now there's a bunch of different other options for him to go.
Yeah.
He's going to go play professionally. He was the focal point of the offense for probably the better part of the last 3 seasons. We're going to see they're dipping into the transfer portal to replace him. They got Jordan Yates out of Georgia Tech to transfer to Sam Houston. And so, of course, a national champion quarterback. He will live forever there in Huntsville, but he is off to the next level. He will, Eric Schmidt, the Woodlands product, will forego his final season there at Sam Houston. Okay, on to the high school side. We got some major shakeups here. And this was a step bomb dropped by our own Matt Stepp this morning. And this was something that we had heard a little bit about. There's a little bit of smoke around this, and it finally came to fruition. Matt Stepp confirming that Rodney Webb, the head coach at Denton Guyer, is stepping down, as he's phrasing it, retiring from coaching there at Denton Guyer. After just 2 seasons there, of course, he led them to a state championship there in 2021.
Longtime Rockwall guy for before then.
Exactly right. He is a guy who has been around the block and been has a very solid coaching resume. He announced that he is retiring. So that is what is official.
Yes.
Let me tell you what we are hearing. What we are hearing is that he is going to move into the administration duties at another school district.
Yes.
Matt Stepp has posited that he believes that school district is Highland Park. Johnny Ringo, we mentioned, is retiring there.
Yes.
They're looking for an athletic director. That would certainly fit.
Yep.
We have not confirmed that. This is only, let's say, informed speculation about Rodney Webb. But all this means is that Denton Guyer's open. And obviously that's a big job out there.
Especially with Jackson Arnold sitting right there like the pretty prize right on top.
A 3-year starter, Jackson Arnold, and a good young core of talent there at Denton Guyer is going to be a good job there. And
this will be his 3rd coach in his high school tenure. That's crazy to think
John
about.
John Walsh's freshman year,
and then
Rodney Webb his sophomore, junior, and then whoever they hire as a senior.
Like someone that prolific to have 3 coaches in high school football, especially with a program that keeps getting back to the state championship. Right. It's not just one that it's like, oh, well, he's a great player, but it never worked out. Wild.
Here's another thing about that. They are... This is one of those tip-top programs where I feel like the applicant pool is going to be pretty big. But Denton ISD tends to, in my experience, look within before they look without.
Oh, yeah.
I think they want to have Denton guys in there. That's not to say that they won't look outside.
No.
But
I think that they'll look outside, but I think the pool of people that they look out is going to be way smaller than what people would expect.
Also consider now both teams in the 6A Division II state championship game are going from last year have new coaches in Westlake, which we expected.
Right.
And now Denton Guyer, which we did not. Rodney Webb has stepped down there at Denton Guyer. This came down last week. Katie Pato. Speaking of, watch this transition.
Yep.
Okay. No. I got. Plan this out.
Okay.
So that's Denton Guyer.
Right.
Let's talk about Denton Ryan.
Okay.
Denton Ryan, their head coach Dave Hennigan, he's still there. Don't worry.
Yeah. I was like, you just gave some people a heart attack.
But he is on the lookout for a new offensive coordinator because their offensive coordinator, Lonnie Teagle, has left to become the new head coach at Katy Pato. You may remember Katy Pato, the defending 5A Division I state champs, moving up to 6A.
BJ Gott went to Pearland.
Bingo, bango. They're looking for a head coach. They hire Katy Pato, or they hire Lonnie Teagle, the offensive coordinator at Denton Ryan. So Katy Pato now has a new head coach. Let's bounce back to the Metroplex.
Okay.
Bounce back to the Metroplex because they, Lonnie Teagle needing to build a staff down there at Katy Pato, right? Needing to go down there and build a staff with them. He has hired an assistant coach David Hicks. He has hired him off of the Allen staff to be on his staff there at Katy Paetow. David Hicks has a son. David Hicks' son is DJ Hicks.
May have heard of him.
The defensive end, the 5-star defensive end, arguably the best prospect in the class of 2023, a menace off the edge. He is now going to play his senior season at Katy Paetow. So we went from Denton Geyer to Denton Orion to Katy Paetow, Katy Paetow to Allen. It all connects.
And that's just another state champion program that, or at least one that contended. I mean, they won, but that didn't. That doesn't have a new, or doesn't have their same coach.
Goodness. The 4 finalists in the 6A Division II and 5A Division I state championship games all have new coaches.
Wow.
Westlake, now Denton Geyer, Katy Paetow,
and
College Station. Pretty remarkable. Finally, one more thing to get to, and that is that Spring is going to have a new head coach as their coach has stepped down. Trent Miller. Thank you very much. Trent Miller has stepped down to take over the job at Willis. He is leaving to go take over at Willis there with the Wildcats with a K. So we will see how he handles there. But that would open up a job there at Spring, which is a pretty darn good
That's an enticing job.
Most certainly.
And if you haven't been out to that new stadium that they play out down there, it's immaculate.
So there you go. There's all the headlines that I could find over the last couple of weeks. So we wanted to cram into one giant segment. So headlines from across the state. Aren't you glad I didn't tell you to make lower thirds?
Yeah. That's a lot.
I told you I had a lot.
Yep.
We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DZTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. It's our subscription package. 2 magazines and a year's worth of exclusive online content. If you want the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. It may even get your horse off of its back.
I see what you did there.
Pickle, you and Mallory last week went on an adventure.
We went to practice.
You went to practice. I think people may look at this show and be like, "Oh, well, obviously this is just a rehearsal that they forgot to turn the cameras on for." But it's no, I mean, this is the real thing.
Yeah.
You went to actual practice. You went to football practice.
Yes.
In Fort Worth. What were you doing out there?
Fort Worth ISD has put together a girls flag football league. And so Coach Murray from Carter Riverside invited Mallory and I out there to, one, get to go talk with the girls, but then also get to test our hand at our flag football skills. So we did a little video recording. We did a little running routes. It was a good time.
Let's see what you got here on Texas Football Today.
All right, we out here, Fort Worth Riverside. Fort Worth ISD has a girls flag football league, so Coach Murray invited us out to test our skills. You ready?
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm a little nervous. We got the text and we both looked at each other and we're like, man, I don't know when we
I gotta stretch. Like,
yeah,
that's
we gotta
the main
stretch.
thing.
We don't want to tear an ACL over here.
What position are you? Evaluate yourself.
I think I'm more of a corner. You know, I can't run a route, but man, I can pick the ball off when you want me to. So.
All right, there you go. I'm gonna go wide receiver for me. I got that length. You got Quadzilla, so low to the ground over there. Get the quads warmed up. Let's go.
This idea came from Dr. Lisa Langston. She's executive administrator here with Fort Worth ISD. Really, we're always looking for new ways to kind of get ahead of the curve, really. And she's been a strong advocate for women's sports all along, especially inside Fort Worth ISD, but also across the country. She heard about this in a couple other states, Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. A lot of other states are actually on this curve. She heard about it, and she thought it's something that we should try and get ahead on.
Got our flags on.
Going 5 yards out and then 8 going 5 yards. Wait, yeah.
We're going to have a rolling clock for 20 minutes. Inside of 20 minutes, it's 3 downs to get a first down, and after those 3 downs to get 20 yards. If you don't get it, you got to turn the ball over. It's really similar in structure and pace of play to everything that you see in normal football, which is really our push. We don't want to make this something that's not football. We want to try and give these young ladies the same experience that any football player has that they can relate to and learn from, just like anyone else.
My dad wants to flip the table. Well, he was happy because, to be honest, originally he wanted me to be a boy. So when he heard that I can actually, be out there and be on the field and play like he did in high school, he was excited for me.
I've got twin 10-year-old daughters. I don't have any boys, I don't have any sons. The thought, that's one of the driving factors between me being a part of this and being the part of this that I am. I want that level of equity and excitement for them, for as much for these girls as I would for my daughters, as much as I do for the girls at our middle school that watch us practice. I want that level of excitement and that feeling of support and that feeling of future endeavor that they don't always find in their everyday. That there are so many doors that they don't even know can be opened because they don't see them as doors, they see them as walls. And so we're trying to show them that not only are they doors, but they can be open for them if they just ready to walk through them.
Not a lot of boy coaches or men coaches want girls to play boy sports because they think it's just for the boys. When girls can play every sport. We put our minds to it.
And obviously, when y'all start playing, there's going to be little girls in the stands, and they're going to be sitting there looking, saying, I want to do that.
Yeah.
What feeling does that bring you to know that they're looking up for you for something that a lot of girls never got to do?
Joy. Nothing but joy. It's nice to be an inspiration, especially to the younger kids.
Man, our goal is to go to AT&T Stadium Championship, be overall, be the big boys,
We had districts around the Metroplex reaching out to us, wanting to know why they weren't involved. What could they do to get in on this? We told them we're really excited for them to join. We're really ready to see this grow and take off, but we wanted to take this first year, really get our teeth into it as Fort Worth ISD, and really see that we can shape it the right way. And then looking into next year, we're ready to add in a couple other school districts possibly. We're ready to see this become something that, just like in other states, become a statewide situation and opportunity for the UIL to get involved and really become something that girls across the state can be involved in.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip
There
here
you
on
go.
YouTube. If you
Out
like this
there
kind
at
of stuff and you
the
want
Fort
more of
Worth
it.
for the Girls Flag Football League, Pickle versus Hartley. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like paying you compliments.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you got the better of Mallory.
I put a little shake and bake on her a couple times.
I think we need to maybe get the thermometer because she might be cooked. Just saying. Stop. No, it looked like fun. Looked like you guys were having a good time out there. So
Yeah, it really was.
That's a cool thing they've got set up.
Well, and that's the thing is like what they're doing is, there's 14 teams in, as Coach was kind of talking about, but there's, to break it down even a little bit further, there's 14 teams in Fort Worth ISD that are all doing this. So they split them into two divisions. You've got 7 and 7. The top 3 teams from each of those divisions are going to literally go to AT&T Stadium and play kind of like a round robin tournament there into the championship game. So they'll get to play their championship game at AT&T Stadium. It's coming up in May. We told them that to let us know. I got to be reminded what day that's on because we would love to go out there. But super, super cool event. And like he said, he goes, it's growing like crazy. There's a ton of other teams that are wanting to do it. So hopefully this turns into like a legitimate thing because it's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll have to go check on Mallory. Check out the burn ward.
Yeah. You can't always keep up with all this speed I got.
You are a speed merchant.
Many
people have said.
It's literally, I wish I had the Michael Scott gift where he goes, I am speed. When he's doing the 5K, that was me.
You really are.
Yep.
You really are. We got anything as far as final thoughts, or is that it?
That was my final thoughts. I am speed.
You are speed. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.